Hey guys, welcome to The Sophisticated Scoundrel. Today we're going to be talking about a man who reached out to me and he was having a relationship with a woman who said that once she got divorced, she would go back to him. So we're going to read through his email and look at the situation and give him a dose of reality that he needs to hear. But before that, please download my free guide. It's the 5-step guide for a man to find his life mission and purpose. And I've been tweaking it. I've refined it. It's getting better and better each rendition. So please download that. There's a link below where you can grab it. This is essential for any guy out there who's struggling, who's lost. Once you find your mission in life, things really click into place. So be sure to grab that. All right, guys, we're going to jump into this because this is a good one. It's a juicy one, and I'm going to really lay it out there. I'm going to be tough because I think this guy needs to hear it, okay? So here we go. Hey, brother, I just want to say I'm glad I stumbled upon your page. Some of the best advice I've ever seen. I try to preach all these brotherhood and men's mental health issues to everyone I know, but one of the things you posted about a woman going through a divorce or separation struck me very, very hard. And yeah, this was a post I did a while back talking about women who are either getting out of a relationship, just divorced, or in a separation. It's a very sticky situation. So he read that post and it resonated with him. I just had a fling with a woman like this. She was on the edge of leaving her man. I fell head over heels for her. Big mistake. Yep. Definitely is. You never want to get emotionally involved with a woman who is just having left her man. It's not a good idea. He goes on to say that she left me high and dry, and one day she wanted me so bad, and 2 days later acted cold and distant. She dumped me and went back to working things out with her husband. She told me she'd come back if they actually get divorced, but told me she doesn't want to give me false hope. I was crushed and still am. I haven't talked to her in 2 months and she's still all that's on my mind. And I'm going to jump ahead because we chit-chatted a little bit, but then he just reached out to me again today. And this part I think is really important. Okay, so he goes like, hey, I got to ask you, man, this girl I told you about, I cannot get her off my mind. I know there's nothing I can do or say to make her come back, but I keep wondering if she'll come back at some point. Well, it's a really take it or leave it situation, but the more important thing is, why would you take a woman like this back? That's the bigger question, and we're going to get into this. and how she feels. Okay, so he goes, I'm wondering if she will ever take me back at some point and how she feels about me now. She said both, that she'll come back to me if her and her husband divorce. Fat chance, my friend. Fat chance. But also said that she's not going to give me any false hope and that it's over. Okay, again. She's my cousin's best friend and she's tried talking to her for me. But she doesn't get very much out of her. Just vague things like, I can't do this right now, and tell him not to reach out to me for a long time. Her husband sort of found out about us. She played it off like nothing happened, but he's not dumb. But he is a psychopath. He's awful to her and she wants to leave but won't. I think she's got Stockholm Syndrome. Okay, let me just stop this for a second here, okay? Because there's a lot going on that I want to just break down before we move on. First of all, you are getting involved with a woman who is married. That in and of itself, that's enough to tell you and make you stop and be like, what the hell am I doing? Okay, forget about this woman. You have to ask yourself, what are you doing? Why are you putting yourself in a situation like this? What does this tell you about yourself? It tells me that you settle for low quality. You know, it's you are getting wrapped up with a woman like this and you have a very low self-image, man. I mean, I hate to say this to you, but this is really what it's all about. You would rather put up with sort of like sneaking around with someone else's wife than to find someone different, okay? And that tells me that you're giving yourself the bare minimal. And here's the thing about women who are in marriages that they don't like. Well, first of all, they don't actually work on their relationship. When things get tough, they run, they leave, they go and have an affair like this woman's doing, okay? They don't work things out with their husband. And if they can't work things out, instead of getting a divorce, they distract themselves by having an affair. And these affairs are generally a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, the sex is awesome because it's dangerous, it's sneaky, and this all adds to the heightened feeling of this, little rendezvous that you guys are having. And it's a fantasy. This is bullshit. It's a very limited sexual fantasy. And that is not that's not really a real relationship. You can have a very hot sexual relationship that's actually good, but this is based off of fantasy and escapism and her not dealing with her problems and you not dealing with your problems, to be quite frank, because you're actually getting emotionally wrapped up in this woman. And there will be some more context to this later. She goes, I can't do this right now. Well, first of all, having your cousin get involved with this, bad move, man. When you're having people talk to a woman for you, it's a bad move and a bad look, especially a woman like this. If you're gonna get involved with a woman who is in a relationship, I don't advise it, but I'm gonna say if you do, you cannot get wrapped up and let your feelings involved, man. It's bad news, and you're gonna end up doing stupid things like this. And the fact that your cousin reached out to her and told her, she's just gonna be like, oh, like he's that desperate, he's just thinking about me, and she even says, do not reach out to me for a long time, which I actually agree with her. You should never reach out to her again. And her husband found out. I mean, this is just getting worse and worse, man. You just said that he's a psychopath and he's awful to her. Okay, look at this, dude. She is a woman who's staying in a relationship that's apparently bad. Whatever he does to her, I don't know. Okay, but you know how many women out there say, oh, that their ex is abusive, blah, blah, blah. They say this a lot. A lot of women will say this when they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. And obviously she has bad behavior. She's cheating on her husband. Okay, women will tend to play victim and say that their past was abusive and stuff like that, when in fact sometimes men just have boundaries and they're like, hey, you know what, I don't want you doing these things, we're in a relationship now, please don't do that. And then a woman will take that and say, oh, it's abusive. So I can't, it's tough to just go by what she's saying here. But if this guy is really messed up and a psychopath, why would you be doing this to yourself? Again, you have some dignity and respect for yourself. You're putting yourself in a very dangerous, potentially dangerous situation. Don't do that. He goes on to think she has Stockholm syndrome. Well, I don't know. I think what's happening here from a masculine feminine context is that you're acting like a very feminine. You're chasing after her, and so you're chasing her out of your life. She's going back to the more masculine husband. This is the dynamic that's going on here. So I don't know if I don't think it's Stockholm syndrome at all. Women gravitate towards men who are masculine. A lot of times, guys who are sort of psychopathic, like you're saying, they do have masculine traits, and that up and down keeps women involved. The women don't like to be bored with their emotions, which is why so many of them date guys who aren't good for them, because at least they have their emotional roller coaster, and women really gravitate towards this. And if you're a guy who wants a healthy relationship, you can still give her those up and down feelings, but not in an abusive way. You can do other things that keep her engaged emotionally. And that's very important for a woman to have those feelings. She doesn't want to be flatline. You don't want to be predictable. She knows everything that you're doing. And the biggest thing that guys do to dry up their girls' panties is to tell them everything and be available 24/7. When you're that available, you're predictable, and that means you're boring. Okay, now he goes on to say that they are not legally married, so she has literally nothing in her name. She wouldn't see a dime, so that has her hostage too. My question is, should I still hold out some hope that she could come back, or is she just leading me on? no, don't hold any hope. This is, like I said, you're dealing with a fantasy. You're dealing with a woman who is technically, whatever, married, even though it's not legal. There's another man involved. Why put yourself in this situation? And here's the big kicker, and this is the most obvious point. If she's cheating on him and she gets with you, guess what? When things go sideways, like that's going on with her husband, she's going to cheat on you too. I mean, that's just, the writing's on the wall, my friend. I could try all day to tell myself she's never coming back, but it won't suppress my desire for her. So here's this thing that I learned, okay? That you need to put inside your brain, is that scarcity creates value. So when something's when there's not much of it around, it all of a sudden makes it seem that much more valuable. So right now, she's unavailable. So all of a sudden now you think she's this amazing thing, and you think, oh, I'm never gonna find another one like her. That's bullshit, dude. You think that you're losing something great, but dude, this is the biggest blessing that you could have. You don't want to deal with a woman like this. Let her go. You have a very, very scarcity mindset right now, and you're, like I said, you're obsessed with a woman who's married, who's a cheater, and it's like, come on, man. Like, why would you want to do that? You're just gonna go, when you guys get together, you're gonna go down a same path, and it said. And, she's going to end up cheating on you with somebody else. Don't do that, okay? You had a fun sexual encounter. That's all that it is. Okay, now here's where things get messy. The thing is, I'm married too. It's a bad situation. I'm in a loveless marriage, and my wife gave up trying years ago. Now she's just complacent. I've tried talking to her a million times, but she has bad anger issues and doesn't work. Okay, man, look, now you're cheating. Like, come on, you got a bunch of cheaters cheating on everybody else. That's not the way to go. And you know how earlier I said you have low self-esteem and you don't have no self-dignity or self-respect? This is another reason why I know that, because you are staying in a loveless marriage. Again, if you can't make it work, and I don't know the ins and outs of you, but it sounds like, you're not leading in a masculine way. I'm sorry to break that to you, but you're not leading in a masculine way, and you're making poor decisions. You're settling for the bottom of the barrel. You settled for this woman that has bad anger issues. So you didn't say no to that, and now you're trying to get this girl who's a cheater. So, we can look at the other women all we want, but the real issue is you, and why you keep putting yourself in these situations, and that's the most important thing that you need to look at and handle. Because I guarantee you get divorced and things don't work out with this other married woman, and you find a new girl down the line, it's gonna be the same exact story. You're gonna repeat the same pattern again because you haven't learned anything. You haven't changed. The other girl made me feel like a man 1,000 times more than my wife ever did, and it did the same for her. And it did the same for her self-esteem. A man not properly appreciated and a woman not properly loved came across each other, and the chemistry was lightning. Well, of course, dude. When people are escaping something, all you're focusing in on is the sex, and of course it's going to be awesome because you have this. It's been repressed both on your side and on her side. So yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome, and that makes sense. But when all that shit fades and you're left together, what's there? It's the relationships just built on this sort of escapade, this cheating, this thrill. I don't think it's going to last much beyond that. That's the hard, cold facts of this case. And you need to see that. She doesn't have the answers to you. You need to work on finding the answers for yourself. You need to, first of all, stop all contact with this woman. Stop pining over her. I know you said that you sent her a song. Maybe, she ignored you. Dude, just stop chasing. You're being very feminine. You're chasing after a woman. Never chase. And so obviously she's now ignoring you, but this is a good thing. You need to just drop her and deal with your own stuff. You need to make a decision about your wife, whether you're gonna, really figure shit out and lay down the law for what's going on, or you need to move on, go your separate ways. But you need to work on your own stuff. It sounds like you are really struggling with that, and obviously, personally, I think you should sign up for a coaching session with me so we can get to the bottom of this, because until you do that, you're going to keep repeating the same mistake and you're going to be in a position of pain. And there's not much that you can do until you fix that. I don't know if things are repairable with your wife, but when a woman becomes bitchy and angry, either she does have some major anger issues, or if she has to be in her masculine, that's when women really become bitchy too. They don't, if they have to make all the decisions, if you're leaving things up to her, if you're not leading properly, that could be another reason why she's, given up. A lot of the times when women don't have sex with you, it's because they don't feel heard and they don't feel listened to, so they start to close off. But when they feel that when you can open them up, when you can listen to them, get them to tell you what's on their mind, then they open back up again, and then sex starts to happen. If you're masculine and you open her up and get her to talk and get it off her chest, generally that helps clear the air with this sexless stuff. But I think you have a lot of work to do, and that starts with you. So in my personal opinion, you're gonna have to make the decision yourself. I can't do it for you, but I would suggest letting this other woman completely go. That was a mistake. It's not a good idea to be involved with someone else's woman like that. And especially letting your feelings get involved. If you didn't get your feelings involved, that's one thing. But being so wrapped up in it because you're starved for this feeling, that's another. And that's a bad way to go. If you're going to get involved with this kind of behavior, you need to be able to cut your feelings off. Otherwise, you're going to get in big trouble like this. So I would let that go. You need to work on yourself. You need to really deal with what's going on inside and why you settle for less, why you are with women like this. That's the bigger question and the more important question that we need to deal with right now. And then figure out what you're going to do with your own family and with your wife, because you can't just keep living like this. It's not a good way to go for you, for her, or if you have kids, I don't know, but it's not a good idea. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, please feel free to message me or comment below. If anybody else out there has questions, feel free to comment down below. And if you'd like to book a coaching session with me one-on-one, you can do so in the links below. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.